Brothers and sisters in Christ, Easter celebration this year brings me the question about love. I would like to ask you a few questions now. Who is the person in your life that you love the most? Try to think. Let us take a few moments to think about it. Who is the person in your life that you love the most? I think everybody has. I hope everybody has. Notice, that I didn't ask you who is the most meaningful person in your life, but who do you love the most? They're not the same. Do you find it easier to find the meaningful person in your life than the one you love? Well, if you do, you are not the only one. There can be many meaningful persons in our life, and they are easier to detect, as the question is rather impersonal. But with love, it definitely must be personal, and therefore not so easy to say. Our modern society tends to program us into impersonal beings. How to distinguish the two? One way to remember is that impersonal is more protected but less connected, while personal is more connected but less protected. The more you love a person, the less protected you become. You become more and more vulnerable in front of that person. That's why the person who can hurt us the most are the person that we love. If you can tell the person that you love the most, then the next question is, how much do you love that person? Is there a way to measure how much you love a person? Or is there something that can help us gauge how much we love a person? I think, in my opinion, the most telling moment to find out how much we love a person is at the time of the person's death. How you feel when you hear of a person's death reveals how much you love that person. The more we love him or her, the more sense of loss that we feel. There is a girl of 15 who lost her mother. Suddenly she found herself unable to pray. She had difficulty understanding how a loving God would take away a good mother of hers when she needed her the most. She got into despair and became indifferent of her relationship with God. Only later on she realized her mistake. But the girl's genuine feeling of emptiness and sadness tell how deep she loved her mother. Similarly, the story of Mary Magdalene, who went to the tomb of Jesus very early in the morning just to be with the remains of someone she cared so very much, but only to find the tomb empty. Her sadness was compounded with horrified bewilderment. This prompted her to quickly report the finding to the disciples, Peter and John, who immediately went to see the tomb. What did they find in the tomb? John arrived first, and rather than going in, he waited for Peter. Peter went into the tomb and discovered the burial clothes not in a heap, left hurriedly by those who might have stolen the body, but discovered the cloth that had covered his head, not with the burial cloth, but rolled up in a separate place, as if someone had carefully and deliberately arranged the cloths. What do you think happened to that cloth? Imagine yourself being Peter or John at that time, and you saw this there, and the tomb was empty. What would you do with the cloth? Have you heard of a piece of cloth known as the Shroud of Turin? The shroud is a name primarily given to a relic. One piece of cloth 4 meters long by 1.5 meters wide, now preserved at Turin, for which the claim is made that it is the actual clean linen cloth in which Joseph of Arimathea wrapped the body of Jesus Christ. I was in Turin last October. I didn't see the actual cloth, but they have a picture of the cloth, and it was they put it life size. The cloth life size. It was brownish in color. I wish I can show you now, but I was not ready. Perhaps this evening I will show. The cloth can be clearly traced back to the Liri in the Diocese of Troyes, where we first hear about it about the year 1360. Though blackened by age, it bears the faint but distinct impress of a human from both back and front. You see, if it's a human body, the cloth is wrapped like this. So it has an imprint of the back here and the front here. It bears a distinct impress of a human body from both back and front, and also this body is full of signs of tortures and crucifixion. But whose body was it belonged to? Was it Jesus or somebody else? Over the years, modern scientists have completed hundreds and thousands of hours of detailed study and intense research on the cloth. Controversies have risen over its authenticity, especially after a radiocarbon dating test was performed on small samples of the shroud in 1988, with the conclusion that they date from the Middle Ages. Now, if the cloth is from Middle Ages, it cannot be the same cloth that wrapped Jesus. Is it true? Let us listen more. Recently, I read an article in Catholic Digest on a testimony of a person named Remi Liando, a Jewish photographer, whose life, as he said, was changed since he encountered the Shroud of Turin 30 years ago. He shared that once he publicly stated his belief in the shroud's authenticity, it has helped him realize that God had been with him all along. In his own words, he explained the last piece of puzzle that finally convinced him of its authenticity. This is what he wrote. In 1988, I was shocked when radiocarbon dating tests confirmed with 95% certainty that the shroud was manufactured sometime between 1260 and 1390. Headlines claimed, "Shroud is fake," and much of the world closed its doors on the accumulated scientific evidence that proved the shroud existed well before 1260. And the linen was manufactured using an ancient method that was no longer in use by the medieval era.